Good afternoon. My name is Martin Higginson, Chief Executive of Huddled Group plc. Just after my broadcast of last week, the wheels well and truly fell off and our lift into our warehouse broke down. We managed to overcome these issues, but I thought it would be prudent just to give you some context as to the space we operate in. So we're in an old cotton mill in Lee in Lancashire. We operate from the third and the fourth floor. The third floor is fully operational, about 40,000 square foot. And the fourth floor is what we're in the middle of commissioning, being an additional sort of circa 40,000 square feet. Currently, there is one main goods lift into the building, and this is what broke down. Part of taking on the fourth floor was the commissioning of a new lift, a dedicated lift just for Discount Dragon, or just for Huddled Group, should I say. But that's 2-3 weeks away. So having the lift, or the sole lift into the building, break down, barring a tiny little people lift, has been a real challenge. And we've had to use that small people lift in order to manhandle goods up and down to the third floor, which, as you can imagine, when we shift somewhere in the region of about 2 articulated lorry loads of goods each day, has been a real challenge, and one that we've had to throw additional resource at. But we've done that, we've thrown the additional resource at it, absolutely the right thing to do, and we've kept customer orders coming in, and more importantly, customer orders going out of the door. This, as a consequence, has delayed some of the goods coming in, but now the lift is fixed, we're fully operational and back to normal service in terms of goods in and goods out. So all of that said, and an amazing job by our colleagues on the logistics team, we still managed to deliver 13,000 orders this last week. So great work by everybody. The other thing I wanted to touch on, there's a lot of speculation on some of the bulletin boards, and I thought it would be useful just to sort of contextualise some of these with a few facts. It's important that people remember, as we add new customers, that new customers spend less than repeat customers. And they normally spend around sort of 60 to 70% of that of a repeat customer. So it's just important to remember that when looking at numbers and trying to predict what we may or may not do. We're currently adding a lot of new customers, around sort of 50% of all orders are new customers across the board. That's across all 3 brands. And that's driven by a mixture of sort of TV, radio, Facebook, Google, and other sort of forms of advertising. So we're really stepping up what we're doing in terms of acquiring new customers. The right thing to be doing, growing our base. But please be aware that it does have some impact on the AOV. This doesn't concern us, as I said, we're adding new customers. TikTok customers will also spend slightly less. That's just the nature of TikTok. That said, our margins are very solid across all the brands. And on Discount Dragon, we've actually improved margins over the last sort of weeks and months as we've managed to move up the food chain in terms of where we're buying stock from. So all in all, sort of going in the right direction in terms of margin. And our focus very much now is about driving profitable orders and increasing steadily each month. What we want to do is we want to bring on the new warehouse floor, the 4th floor, make sure that that's operational and grow our orders in sync with what the warehouse can cope with. What we want to make sure is that orders are delivered in a timely manner, and ideally this needs to be next day. So we need to achieve this by not growing too quickly, by sort of exploding advertising. What we want to do is avoid the spikes, avoid sort of peaks and troughs, and just make sure that we're growing steadily month on month. Consistent performance across all of the brands each and every week. So we're starting to see that now. We're starting to see a lot of consistency coming through each brand, and that's really helping us plan ahead and plan where we want the warehouse to be, especially as we bring the new warehouse on board. So new 4th floor will be fully operational in the next 4 weeks, certainly by the end of March. We will have a dedicated lift that will just be a lift exclusively for Huddle's use. We'll still have access to the other communal sort of goods lift, and we'll have the person lift. So we've really sort of future-proofed ourselves on that area. We'll also have our own loading bay, and we're improving the loading yard so we can get more vehicles in and out and actually leave vehicles on site or leave a trailer on site so that we can load straight into that trailer. And what we will do over the coming weeks is we're going to show you around the warehouse to give you some idea of what we're talking about and how it all operates. So just getting into the individual brands, Discount Dragon, the migration to Shopify that I discussed earlier, continues to deliver. We're continuing to see better performance each week. We're getting great consistency in the number of orders, which is fantastic. And that's driven by consistency in the marketing department, consistency in our communication via emails and WhatsApp with our customers, and in our offerings as well. So one of the best weeks we've had, despite all the lift shenanigans and everything that was going on. So best weeks in terms of order levels and margins that we've ever seen. So we're really sort of pleased with the way that that's growing, and it certainly bodes well as we look to the future. NutriCircle, it actually exceeded the performance of the previous week, which, as you may remember, was one of our best weeks. And we still added over 1,800 new customers. So about 50% of total orders were new customers, but we still managed to achieve as I said, the best week we've seen. Boot Beauty, you may have noticed we haven't been on TikTok this week until today. That's Friday, February 28th, where we partnered up, or are partnering up with TikTok to run a live mega event. This starts at 11 a.m. today and runs to 11 p.m. this evening. And early signs are really, really encouraging. As at 5 p.m, our revenues were hitting circa sort of £10,000 excluding VAT. So that certainly bodes well for the rest of the day. And we keep our fingers crossed for a great sort of evening of activity. In Boop, we also promoted this week. We've been promoting free delivery across the entire brand, no matter what size of order. That's driven a lot of new customers. And whilst the AOV has been slightly lower than we would normally expect because of the free delivery at any point, what we've actually started to see is customers returning and continuing to spend. So that really, again, bodes well as we go forward, and we can see that the repeat customer numbers are good. So great investment in terms of acquiring new customers. The margins on Boop are absolutely excellent, and a lot of this is driven by our partnership with many of the sort of cosmetics brands. As we help them sort of reduce waste and their sort of waste footprint, we're able to demand sort of better margins for ourselves. In other words, cheaper products, because we're helping them solve a problem. We can then pass those savings on to our customers while still making a healthy margin, allowing us to build the brand not only on TikTok, but on TV, radio, and a number of other mediums. So Boop continues to go at a pace. In March, we will be doing a lot more TikTok activity. We can see it's working. We can see that building the brand on TikTok is very good for us, and it'll continue to help us build trust, loyalty, and also enhance that customer base. So all in all, going in the right direction. So in summary, look, it's been a nightmare week with the lift and the associated disruption and extra cost. It's really demonstrated for us what we knew already, the need for an additional lift, a dedicated lift that is just for us. But all of that said, it's been a solid week for performance. And if we'd assumed sort of normal warehouse operations with no lift problems, then it probably would have been one of our best weeks ever, certainly to date. So, all in all, pretty good. In March, you'll see us increasing advertising on Discount Dragon steadily as we start to sort of push new customers. We've got advertisements appearing on morning TV on ITV1. So if you were a fan of This Morning or Jamie Martin's sort of kitchen, then you may well see the adverts appear over the sort of coming weeks on ITV1. NutriCircle will be back on TV in early March, predominantly on ITV2, because we feel this is the right audience for that sort of demographic and that brand. And then Boop, as I outlined before, we'll be working with TikTok and our TikTok team to sort of continue to build on the success of February as we move to more days of sort of live airing across that brand. So our in-house logistics team, they're going to be focused on commissioning not only the additional floor, but the additional lift, as I talked about before, as well as loading bay, and helping us to improve sort of efficiencies and drive down costs. So despite the horror show of the lift, it has actually been a good week for all the brands. It's not a week that I really want to repeat, and I'm certainly sure it's not a week that the logistics guys want to repeat. They had to haul a lot of boxes manually downstairs just to ensure that customers continue to get the service that we want to deliver to them. So look, all in all, some bad, some good. We learn as every day. And hopefully this coming week will be another great week, and I'll speak to you next week. Thank you.